Hi, I'm Saskia from Voice Mag, and today I am joined by Dr. Birgitta Hoos, who is going to talk to us about her art project for Totally Thames. Hi, Birgitta, how are you doing?
Hello, Saskia. We're fine, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, can you tell us a bit about your project, Collecting Rituals?
Well, the project is very interesting. Naturally, I think that. And as an urban anthropologist, I like to inspire new perspectives, especially on daily things, on our daily lives. So I will be talking about bones, teeth, and oyster shells, but also involve artists in the second talk.
Right, and what are some of the things that you have brought with you today?
Well, there are many things I could have brought, but I thought, first of all, I've got this oyster shell, which is obviously a native oyster, as it's very flat. So I found that on the Thames foreshore, really. And there are a lot of them, and people wouldn't really pay attention to them as they are very usual things. But if you look behind the story and how it's connected to city lifestyle, it's extremely interesting, and it's really work in progress. And I was fascinating when I prepared my talk which things you can tell about oyster shells. So this is one. And then the other one is a bone. And naturally, I didn't find it like this at the Thames foreshore because it's too wide. So actually, this is a bone the artist I'm going to talk to has worked on. So she made it look like this, and she's doing sculptures with this bone, really.
Oh, wow. What, who did the bone, or what did the bone belong to at first before it looked like that?
How it looked like before? Yeah, before, as the bones we know when we're eating meat, no? So usually we wouldn't be attracted. They look sort of strange. We've had the meat, which was nice, and then you think, okay, the bone is rubbish, and you would throw it away, no? You wouldn't especially pay attention. It's greasy, it smells if you leave it in the dustbin or something, so it's not attractive at all. No? But then, if it's at the Thames foreshore, it's getting interesting. People all of a sudden collect things which usually they wouldn't pay attention to. And then finally, artists could use these profane things to do their artwork.
So, how did you get into collecting?
Well, I personally have to confess that I'm not really collecting things from the Thames foreshore. But as I said, as an anthropologist, as a social anthropologist, I'm really interested in what people do. And in London, it's obvious that mudlarking is a theme, and many people discovered it, especially during the Corona lockdown as well. No? So looking for things they could do, looking for things they could do outdoors. They are heading to the Thames foreshore.
Do you have any rituals yourself? Like, do you have anything that you do collect just for fun?
Well, basically, I'm collecting photos, I would say. So I can't collect all the things I'm interested in, but I've got many, many photos for my talks I'm doing. So I collected some textiles from Mexico because I've lived in Mexico. But I also like to work on bones and oyster shells and many other things, no? Many other projects. Things you would see like the benches, or lately I worked on cemeteries, but I'm taking pictures. So
Okay. So, what is it about human behavior that fascinates you so much?
well, it's changing. There are many different people, and depending on their lifestyles, they would have a different behavior. And I like to paint a bigger picture. So sometimes you would think, for example, with these oyster shells, oh, what did people do in the 18th century? And it seems like very far away and very long time ago. But if you compare it to today, there are certain similarities. So that's what I really find fascinating. What are things humans do and humans in cities do? Are there cultural differences? How are the ideas? Some people don't eat pig meat, for example. Others do. So this is interesting, the variation, really.
And what can people expect from your talk?
Well, they can expect to get inspired to new perspectives and new ideas, maybe things they never thought of. So I'm not a historian and couldn't give that many details about years and historical facts, but it's more about the bigger picture, what bones have to do with city life and what it has to do with mudlarking and what the artists have to do with it finally.
Well, it sounds really interesting and I can't wait to see it if I get the chance as well. So where can people find you on social and get tickets to your show?
We're basically on the Thames Festival Trust, Totally Thames page. You would have all events, and the first talk is on the 4th of September. It's online and it's for free, so you don't have to pay, but you have to book a ticket. And the second one is at the end of September, also on a Saturday, and you can also find it on the homepage. Or if you head to Eventbrite directly, you could look for my name or for Bones or Thames Festival and Totally Thames 21.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to us, Birgitta.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and hope you will join us when we talk about bones and oyster shells.
Yes, I shall learn something new. And thanks everybody for watching, and take care.